Hi, this is Mary Wisner from the Gallagher Law Library. Today I'd like to talk to you about using KeyCite on Westlaw with your tax research. You're probably familiar with citators from your other research experience. As you know, they track sources that cite a source you know. So has another case cited this case? Has a law review article cited this case? That's the basic mechanical function. One thing this does for you is help you determine whether a source is still good law. If you're looking at a case, you want to know, has it been reversed? Has it been overruled? Has it been distinguished by later cases? If you're looking at a statute, you want to know, has it been repealed? Has it been amended? If you're looking at guidance documents, like revenue rulings, you want to know, has it been revoked or altered in some way? Citators also lead you to relevant sources because a source that cites your source is likely to be on the same topic, so you can build your research library by following those threads of citation. There are citators on different platforms. Shepard's is on Lexis. BCite is on Bloomberg Law. RIA Citator is on Checkpoint. And today we're looking at KeyCite on Westlaw. The easiest way into KeyCite is to look at a document and then within that document at the top of the screen look for citing references. In KeyCite you can sort using a drop-down menu at the top. You can filter using many options in a sidebar on the left, and you can search within, that's one of the filters. Flags will alert you to what different citations mean. First, let's KeyCite a case. I'm looking at Commissioner versus Solomon. It has to do with the home office deduction. Now, the first reminder to use KeyCite is that there's this yellow flag saying superseded by statute. Let's skip that for now and see that up at the top it has a link to citing references. And it says that this feature is powered by KeyCite. That means we're going into KeyCite now. They give us a preview already that the citing references include cases and secondary sources, and we can just go there. I think it's a good idea to check out the negative treatment. We already saw that yellow flag, but let's see what negative treatment says. The negative treatment has several cases that indicate that this case was superseded by statute. So it says Solomon was superseded by statute as stated in Beal, as stated in Toke, as stated in Flying Hawk. And so let's look at this, and I'm just clicking on the highlighted portion. KeyCite highlights the case that we're citating, the case that we're checking, Commissioner versus Solomon, and then we see the passage. Congress adjudged the Solomon Standard too rigid and enacted flush language following Section 280A C1C designed to liberalize it in the Taxpayer Relief Act. This flush language provides that, blah, blah, blah. That tells us why Flying Hawk is important before we rely on Solomon. It reminds us that we need to read the statute because it's been amended. That doesn't mean that we can't use Solomon for a lot of other purposes. If I go to citing references, Solomon might be the way to help me find current material about the home office deduction. I know that this is an important Supreme Court case. Probably material citing it will be useful. Suppose I want secondary sources citing Solomon. This is using that navigation bar on the left. I could sort these in different ways. Let me sort by date. So the most recent citing reference is 2020. Lots of Amjur here. Legal forms, 2020. Merton's Law of Federal Income Taxation, 2020. So there are lots of very recent secondary sources that are discussing Solomon, even though it has been affected by that statute. To search within results, you click on that bar and then you say, I want professor or teacher to be in the text of the citing document that cites Solomon. What among those hundreds of documents that cite Solomon also have the word teacher or professor? And that way we find 124 citing references, and we can look through those, choosing secondary sources or cases. We can sort them by depth of treatment or by date. Let's use KeyCite to look at a code section. I'm looking at section 280A of the code. This is from the United States Code Annotated on Westlaw. And at the top of the screen, I have an option to see citing references. Again, I get the preview of the types of references that cite my code section. We can choose the type of source over here. We can search within results. Again, I'm looking for professor or teacher in the citing document. So that was an easy way to get just the documents that we care about. Now here's a feature that I actually only just learned that KeyCite offers. Beneath the box for search within results, it has an option for subsections. And you can say, I don't just want material that cites section 280A, I want material that cites 280A C2. Now, instead of 2,600 documents, we have just 28. We still have the filter for teacher or professor, and we are looking at material that cites 280A C1. Very neat feature. Finally, I'd like to show you KeyCite for a revenue ruling. Let's look at this revenue ruling from 2009, secondary sale of life insurance contract by investors. A yellow flag tells us we have to be alert, and the small print says that it was modified by a revenue ruling in 2020. We can get the same thing by going to negative treatment, or if we go to citing references, we see the full KeyCite display, where we could choose to look at the administrative decisions and guidance, the secondary sources, or one trial court document. Looking at the negative treatment takes us right to that revenue ruling that modifies our ruling. It says so right here in the first sentence, revenue ruling 2020-5 modifies revenue ruling 2009-13 and revenue ruling 2009-14. Let's recap. Citators help you find material that cites a document you're interested in. We looked at KeyCite for a case, a code section, and a revenue ruling. Be sure to check negative treatment. Sort results and search within results to home in on the documents you need. This has been Mary Wisner from the Gallagher Law Library. See our website for library services, research guides, and more. That URL is lib.law.uw.edu.